representing the Berg. I got my homie Jay. I got my homie Junior in here representing the Berg, Central Florida. We're gonna get started. Gonna jump right into the show. I want to introduce my man Jay. He say he always up first, so I'm gonna let him have it this go round. Go ahead and put it down, bro. Jay, who is you?
This is Jay from the Berg, the champ, the original champ. The champ is here.
Okay, Junior, what you got to say about that, Junior? Who is you?
He already know what it is. M-Town in the motherfucking building. Don't get it twisted. Jazz smack you up every time.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm feeling some sauciness today, so we definitely might have us a little smoke going because we gonna jump right into something that I found to be a top story this week. My man Junior got into a heated discussion with somebody on Bleacher Report about the Colin Kaepernick situation to be picked up by a team, and then he had another fan. I think it was a Detroit fan, if I'm correct, Junior. Was this guy a Detroit Lions fan?
Yes, the dude was a Detroit Lions fan. That's the sad part.
So we got two Detroit Lions fans going at each other about the future of their quarterback situation. But I just want to get you teed up, man, because I can't believe this guy actually said Jeff Driscoll, the same Jeff Driscoll from the University of Florida. He said he ran a 4.5. 4.5 40. I say I've never seen Jeff Driscoll probably wouldn't run to a Twinkie at a 4.5 40, man. You know? So go ahead, Junior, man. Let us know what that whole discussion, how it got started, and what it was about.
It was about the whole Kaepernick signing and everything else, and it was a pit where it was supposed to be for a Lion fans to vent about how pissed off we were about the season. So I go there and I scroll through, and I see Buddy talk about how Jeff Driscoll runs the 4.5. I was like, dude, you smoke rocks. And then he was like, well, who do you think we should have at quarterback? I was like, well, shit, why don't we sign my man Cap and see what he can do for the rest of the season? It ain't like we going anywhere. It ain't like we going to the playoffs or the Super Bowl. So why not sign him, see what happens? And if he plays out well for us, he might be a good backup for Stafford, or he can take over for Stafford, challenge Stafford, whatever. But these guys, these fair-weather Lions fans really piss me off because they act like they hold on to Matt Stafford like he's fucking God. And that's a problem. Right? So when he did that, it made no earthly sense to me.
Well, I get that, no doubt, man, because the same argument is down here in Tampa. I've actually been on social media with a couple of people saying Cap should come to Tampa. They should cut Jameis loose. And then you got the naysayers because of all the political hoopla that has been wrapped around the Kaepernick situation. So we got the boo birds that come out and try to, piss on that. However, we're going to get into that a little bit later, the Jameis situation. But, so yeah, that sounded like it was a real homer for the Detroit Lions trying to throw stout. What's that?
The dude was a jerk. It just that's all that was.
Yeah, and when I read the comments, go for it, bro.
He was just so hell-bent on hating on Cap, it didn't make no sense. Because, again, ultimately, the Lions aren't going anywhere. Everybody else, true fans were saying the exact same thing.
And that's what I don't understand. I don't understand why people take Cap's credentials. This guy done played in 2 NFC championship games. This guy played in the Super Bowl and came close to winning it. The guy has all kind of experience. He can run the dual threat game. And people will actually dismiss all the man's qualities for some negativities, but all the negativities basically come from off the field issues.
Exactly.
What you think about that, man?
Well, I'm a.
Go ahead, Jay.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say. I mean, it'll be good to get a man a chance out there because he is better than I would say way more than half the quarterbacks in the league. I mean, even him replacing Jameis, I think that's a good idea. So I think, other players want to play with somebody the rest of the season that can play and then keep their stats running and, get bonuses for touchdowns. All that stuff count. So give a man a chance. I mean, what happened with what happened this past weekend is what they gave him a bullshit waiver they wanted him to sign, and it was an unfair waiver, so he changed the whole event. So as far as you do talking about, Driscoll and all that, he sound crazy as hell talking about a 4-5. So let's not mention that. But go ahead.
I ain't even care. I don't even think, to be honest, I don't even think Jeff Driscoll can run a 4-5 for the simple fact this dude ain't in college no more. Let me somebody show me a tape right now of Jeff Driscoll running a 4-5. Because Jeff Driscoll running a 4-5 shit, I'm still running a 4-2 with my fat
ass. He played for my Gators, and I was very disappointed. That's all I can say about Driscoll.
Well, I tell you what, fellas, that's why, just to wrap it up, my take on it is, the guy was doing what all these light-skinned Caucasianist fans, if you will, the reasons they hate Kaepernick are for reasons that are off the field. But just the fact of the matter, Jeff Driscoll didn't even run a 4-5 when he was at Florida. So we ain't gonna get into we ain't gonna get into all the injuries he suffered and finally made it to the league. So I know he ain't running no 4-5, but okay, man. I wasn't trying to treat you like a step nephew on that segment there, Jay. I just felt Junior was the best person to go ahead and elaborate on that. But I'm glad you jumped in there. I'm gonna go with you first, Jay, because now I got a question, Jay. The Rams, the football team of last year that everybody thought was the juggernaut and everybody pretty much thought should have won the big bowl last year. This year, they're not looking as spectacular. So I want to find out from y'all, too, what y'all think about the golf situation, how his limitations are really being brought to light because the offensive line of last year is in pretty much disarray. We got Todd Gurley, who's not at his top anymore because of that hampering knee injury. And the numbers, just to throw a couple out there, Goff is throwing at 57% in the last 6 games. That is not even good second backup quarterback numbers. And he's actually the 6th lowest rated passer rating in the NFL right now. So, Jay, let me ask you, here's what I'm going to pose. Tell me why you think the Rams aren't going to make the playoffs or will make the playoffs. And do you think that it's going to be led by the defense? Do you think the defense is going to save the day for the Rams? What you got to say about that, Jay?
I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this season. And it came down to what they said about Zeke with Dak. Without Gurley, old boy just ain't nothing. I mean, damn, you don't have to play this terrible. But with his continual plays like he's been playing, it's just not, they ain't going to make it. That man been playing terrible. And like you said, Todd Gurley is kind of hurt. So Todd Gurley kind of really established who he is. You know what I'm saying? Without him being healthy, you can't hide all the weaknesses he had. And his weaknesses are being shown. I mean, accuracy terrible. I mean, interceptions, percentage, QBR, all that shit down, man. It's pretty much over this season. I think they're gonna have to come back next year, healthier and whatever, and give it a shot. But I think it's over with this year, and the quarterback play is terrible. And they probably gonna have to rest Gurley. If it's over with by week 15, you got to rest him for the rest of the season and get ready for next season. That's my comments on that.
Okay, and I like that. Yeah, I like that, man, because you brought up a situation that it just seems like the Gurley situation it seems like golf should be carrying the water for Gurley this year by having a passing attack that will take the heat off of the line of scrimmage for Gurley. But it just seems like golf can't really produce that to take the heat off, which is going to run the wheels off of Gurley. So, Junior, based off of the previous question there, what I addressed earlier, what you think about these Rams, and how are you seeing that they're not the juggernaut that they were last year?
I mean, the only really thing that's really missing that I could say they wasn't a juggernaut because Cooper Kupp was hurt. And that was like they biggest threat right there. Cooper Kupp was looking like Danny Amendola and old boy over there in New England. That was where Danny Amendola came from. So they missed that slot guy. So that was really eating them up. And then on the other side of that, their backup who they had behind Gurley, C.J. Anderson, when they let him go and he was in the Super Bowl, they didn't even really have no backup for him. So technically, can they make the playoffs? Yes. Do I believe golf is the next great thing for St. Louis? One good year, one bad year. We'll see what happens next year. Right? But the defense will be the thing that gets them to the playoffs, because the one thing they did do was pay attention to defense. Right? I mean, damn, they got 4 number ones over on that side. Then on top of that, they probably got one of the best damn cornerbacks in the league, and Jalen Ramsey sitting back there locking down one half of the fucking football field. So technically, they only got to worry about one side, and they're stopping the run every time. So making the playoffs, yes. Will they lose? Yes.
I got you. I'm with you. And that defensive line, man, it is special. When they got rid of Ndamukong Suh, when the Bucs picked up Suh, I thought that the Rams were going to miss him, but I'm now starting to think that maybe the reason the defensive line wasn't what we thought it should be because of all those number ones was because it was just too much. It was crowded talent. Nobody got a chance to really get off and stay on the field. So, yeah, I'm with you on that, Junior. I think the defense will save the day and get them to the playoffs. But I just think with the way that this division is shaping up, I don't think they'll make it out of the wild card. They're definitely not going to win the division, but I don't think they'll make it out of the wild card round because they're just not going to have enough offensive output to win a playoff game. You're playing another team, obviously, that is a team that is an offensive team, because you have to have some type of offensive output to make it to the playoffs. We haven't really seen many teams in many years make it in the new era of football with a lack of offense. So I think they'll make it to the first round, the wild card round, and get bounced out, kind of like you said, Junior. But all right, man.
Hold on. I got a comment on the Cooper Kupp. He played damn near the whole season.
Man, Coop wasn't the same way he was, man.
I mean, he played damn near the whole season now.
True. I give you that.
You can't make no excuses for the quarterback. He's just playing terrible.
I'm not making excuses for the quarterback. I just said, again, one great season versus one bad season. Got to give him a third before you really write him off. I mean, he ain't no Andy Dalton in this bitch.
I mean, he's one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. He got paid early.
He got paid early, and even when he got paid early, I was like, wow, really? What makes them think that this is the guy? I mean, I thought he was a little... Yeah. Now, before the Super Bowl...
And the NFL did the same thing with Joe Flacco. Yeah, Joe Flacco.
Now, golf...
But then...
Golf didn't play well in the playoffs last year, though.
Now, Golf was drafted by the Rams, and he didn't start the first season. Didn't he get sat down the first season?
He got benched, but he was playing with weak-ass Jeff Fisher.
Oh well, yeah, that's true. That good point. Good point. That's right. They hadn't made that coach switch, and yes, everybody was saying. I remember that now. Yeah, Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher had a reputation for holding down a lot of quarterbacks. So yeah, that's a good point, Jay. Good point. All right, let's see here. Now we're gonna keep it going with this quarterback situation. Mitch Trubisky. This isn't this isn't an Aaron Rodgers or a big name quarterback thing, but it is a big thing for Chicago because they drafted this guy, their first round draft pick or whatever, and this is supposed to be the quarterback for the future. He's had a quick rise and even quicker fall in the state of commentary when it comes to quarterbacks in the National Football League. He has been playing hurt. He had a hip situation. Then he had a shoulder situation. Now they have Chase Daniels, the backup quarterback, in. But the Bears are saying that Mitch Trubisky is going to be their guy for the future. He's the guy when he's all better. It's his job. It's his team. Now the Bears may have a crack at some type of decent quarterback, whether it's trade or draft. Do you guys think the Bears are being naive and saying and thinking that Mitch Trubisky is going to come back and be the guy, or should they be entertaining possibly another quarterback for the future or someone to come in and at least challenge Trubisky? What you got to say about that? And I know, Junior, you going to talk about this because I'm quite sure the Detroit Lions and the Bears see each other twice a year, and they're often fighting for the division. So I know you don't want to help the Bears out, but what do you think the Bears ought to do? Junior, what you got?
First and foremost, Mr. Trubisky is hot garbage. That bitch more sorry than
Tell us how you really feel, homie.
He sucked more than Ryan Leaf. He sucked more than Brian Boss. This motherfucker is straight trash. You know what? I thought I was going to see nobody that stink up the NFL more than Jason Sehorn until I seen Mitchell Trubisky. This motherfucker was finna full-fledged cry on the sideline. First and foremost, he was finna cry. I watched the game. When he got pulled for Chase Daniels, this man was finna cry. I'm walking around the house repeating Scarface. My lady asked me, why am I rapping Scarface? And then when I showed her the TV, she was like, oh, I see why. Because Mr. Trubisky was finna cry.
Never seen a man cry till I seen a man die.
Until he got benched. So what's going to end up happening with Mitchell is this. He a fool if he think the NFL is going to keep him around. Or the Chicago Bears. Right? For the simple fact that the NFL ain't loyal to them fucking body. They only loyal to their fucking selves. Which means if they got the shot, they're going to go poach Stafford from Chicago, which can possibly happen, or go get Carolina, or go get Cam Newton for Carolina next year. You think they ain't finna move that and rid of Buddy? Hell, look what fucking Arizona did to Josh Rosen. 1 year removed.
Yes.
So he'll be a fool to think damn well he gonna stay with the Bears because he had one season. Shit, Josh Rosen think he had a good season. His ass was gone the very next year, and the guy that they traded him for, yeah, he's good, but the records almost look the same to me.
I agree with you. So that Rosen comparison is spot on.
So his one good year is because the NFC was ready for Khalil Mack. They was nowhere near ready. But now look at Khalil Mack's numbers this year. They're nowhere near the sack numbers he had.
Yeah.
And ain't nothing in Chicago changed. There wasn't no big moves. They didn't lose nobody. They might have added somebody. Oh, they lost to Alshon Jeffries. Okay, oh wow. It wasn't a really big problem. The quarterback still got to throw, and the wide receiver still got to catch.
Hey, let me ask you something, Junior. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to be fair. How much of this perspective is the Detroiter in you, because it sounds like you got some personal heat for these Chicago Bears, man. What you say?
I mean, quite frankly, my stepdad was a Chicago fan. I fucking hate Chicago. I'm calling straight to say, I fucking hate Chicago. They ain't same division. I'm supposed to hate these fuckers. So yeah, I hate the motherfuckers all the way down to the Bulls. Fuck it.
Okay, I got you. Well, just to keep this thing going, I'm going to step to you, Jay, because, quite frankly, we already know how Junior feel, being the Detroiter and them Bears. I appreciate that perspective because it was very enlightening. But let me ask you, brother, when it comes to Mitchell Trubisky, when it comes to the Chicago Bears getting Khalil Mack, when it comes to them adding Alshon Jeffrey, what do you think the Bears have shown by adding these additional weapons for the benefit of the Bears, but also as much as Trubisky, and Trubisky not really showing the output when he was healthy, and people already commentating on the lackluster of Trubisky? What do you think the Bears ought to be looking at long term, and seeing that their record might put them in position to shop for quarterbacks or get into the quarterback conversation? What say you, brother? What you think about these Chicago Bears in this Trubisky situation?
Okay, Alshon Jeffrey on my Eagles, so he ain't on there. But I think they have a defense that they have to go get them a quarterback, because you got a ready-to-win defense. And when you can put a quarterback on there, you can win the Super Bowl. So, I mean, looking at somebody like Cam or somebody else that can, play and ready to start right now, of course I would do it. I mean, he got to go, because you'll end up losing that defense. I mean, right now, people can still put points up on the Bears. So their defense playing well. Then, they can run the ball a little bit. So once they get a real quarterback, especially with somebody like Cam, the running game will open up better. And I think they probably need to get, another weapon on the receiving core, whether it's a tight end or somebody. Allen Robinson, he's pretty good, but Tyler Gabriel and all them other brothers, they don't show up all the time. So they do need some more weapons, and they definitely need a new quarterback. I agree. Don't waste that D.
Okay. Yeah, man, I almost forgot. Yeah, Jeffries ain't over there no more. He is with the Eagles, but he was, that loss to the Patriots made me forget about that. But not to poke fun at you, brother. Not to poke fun at your Eagles. But yeah, man. But hey, I was pulling for y'all boys, because I always like to see the Patriots lose. So
we
I'm
damn
always
sure needed in that game.
Yeah, man, I know, brother. All right, man. Well, my take on the Chicago situation is pretty much par for the course. I just don't like the fact that you have Mitchell Trubisky, who, when they picked this guy up over other guys that were in the draft the year he was drafted, I'm like, okay, I didn't really think that was a good shot, but people have their own workouts. They're looking at these guys and who's going to be best for their team. So I get it. Do you? But at this point, I'm not saying Mitchell Trubisky has played horrible enough in the NFL to have his job taken, but I certainly don't think he's played well enough to have cemented his legs in Chicago to be the man for the next 7 years. So with that being said, I just think that the Bears need to do what the NFL does, and they're always looking for the next darling, whether it's individually or whether it's the face of the NFL. So the Bears need to stop being naive and go ahead and realize that, you might want to start looking for a quarterback, because once this guy comes back from injury, if you expect him to be better, okay. If you think he can be better, okay. If you want to get weapons for him If you want to try to build a better team around him, okay. But, stats are stats. And Trubisky certainly needs to be, challenged, if nothing else, by them picking up a quarterback that's going to make him work. But to move right along, we had an interesting situation again in this NFL world with our guy, our man, Colin Kaepernick. The workout by NFL standards was not what they wanted. They wanted him to sign a waiver. They wanted to only have NFL press, photographers, cameramen, and like Cap said, they would have only put out the footage that the NFL wanted out. So Kaepernick, to his credit, the man sees a lot, and he's always a move or two in front of the NFL, if you want to put it into a chess reference. Because what reason would the NFL want to only have the NFL camera crew, photographers, yada, yada, yada? Why not invite the media in? Why not invite the world to see this workout? And like Cap said, that would have given them an opportunity to maybe show only the weaknesses that Cap got. Maybe a couple bad throws, maybe some miscues, and they blast that out to the world to justify, well, see, he's not really an NFL caliber quarterback, so it's not us holding him back. So just to get into the peel this onion of many layers back, this is a big onion with a lot of layers. So Stephen A., just to throw him into the same mix, had a lot to say about Colin Kaepernick and his wanting to be a martyr more than a football player. I want to ask you, Jay, the workout, even though it moved to a high school and there was journalist coverage, there were some scouts that came, and Kaepernick felt the workout was a success. Do you feel that Kaepernick was wise to go ahead and slight the NFL's plans and go do his own thing, even if it was at a lower level? What do you think, Jay? How do you feel about the situation with how the workout played out?
Well, first of all, let's get on Stephen A. He's a yes boss and yes master guy, so he's always going to do whatever, the bosses tell him. He's just one of those guys, anything for the money. But, I mean, he looked at the waivers and everything wasn't fair, everything wasn't cool, so he went and did his own workout where he could be seen, it was seen. He had people, even the audience there. I mean, I thought it was pretty nice, and I like how he changed the venue. I thought that was cool, and he still had other people coming. The other scouts that didn't come, or the other representatives of other teams, could have still came, but they chose to get on their planes and leave, but they still could have came. It wasn't too far to come to it. But, I mean, he looked great in the workout. He looked like he can still play. I mean, he did it the way he wanted to do it. I mean, Stephen A. might not feel like he did the right thing because he felt like he bucked the process and you really don't want a job. But the man states he really wants a job. So he did it his way. I mean, he got his show on the road. It was seen. I think it was nice. And, sometimes you got to do things your way because their way has already had the man banned for the league. So let's try it my way. If you don't pick me up, you don't. But I showed everybody I can still play, and y'all know I can still play. Like he said, stop playing around or stop fucking around and sign my dog. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I like that take, man, and I'm with you on that take because if nothing else, the bottom line issue is Colin Kaepernick is still at least at least in the 64-man conversation of starters and backups in the National Football League. I mean, just be honest, Junior. What you think? I mean, is Kaepernick from your NFL expertise, from a fan on the outside looking in, from a commentator on the outside looking in, from what you see, is Colin Kaepernick a 64? Where does he rank in the 64 quarterbacks, starters, backups in the league, and what do you think, and how did the workout play out in your eyes? What you think, Junior?
I'm still going to rate Colin in the top 20. Still right now, for the 3 years removed in the league, I'm still putting him in the top 20. Got to think, fresh legs, he ain't hit. I take that versus some of the rest of these cats. I'm one of the folks that, again, I'm sitting up here hoping Colin gets a job. I want my Lions to pick him up to see what possibly can happen. Real talk. But before I go back on the Colin, let me start with this first. Fuck Stephen A. and fuck Hugh Jackson.
Oh, wow. I like it.
And then to finish it off with the cherry on top, fuck Jay-Z too. Right?
I like it.
Here's my problem, because I ain't mad at Cap for taking his destiny in his own hands. If you want to blackball me for real. I'm going to show you what blackball really looks like. I'm not going to conform to something where you get to dictate and control narrative. No, that doesn't make any sense. At the end of the day, he did what was right for him. I'm not mad at Cap. The NFL is still on some shady ass shit to the point where I don't care for the NFL. I'm not buying merchandise, and I don't plan on it. Will I watch a game?
With you.
Will I watch a game? Yeah, on my Fire Stick, but I bet you I won't go to one live.
I know. I'm with you on that, because I myself, I've been looking at the NFL strictly as from a commentary standpoint. I keep up with some of it. I watch the Bucks, like you say. I'll watch on the Fire Stick. I'll try to keep up with it, but the NFL has really rubbed me the wrong way. Just like you, Junior. I'm with you.
I mean, I'm so pissed right now to the point where the reason why I say fuck Hugh Jackson is very clear, because this is just reported. You know what I'm saying? Hugh Jackson said he felt obligated to the NFL to back out of the Colin Kaepernick workout. Why? So are you with the brother, or are you with everybody else? Because in essence, we have no problem putting you over there in that category. But remember, Hugh, every time you fuck up, the NFL dump your ass like a bad cold. So Negro, you ain't subject for any part of this. So what makes you think that what they do in the Cap, they won't do to you? Go ahead, Hugh, keep playing with that fire and watch what happens. We would kick your ass out of this community the same way we kicking Jay-Z out this motherfucker.
And you just brought up a good point, Junior. Hugh Jackson, just like you said, newly reported, Hugh Jackson has a reason to now step and fetch, because he wants a job from daddy. He wants a job from the master. And in order to get that job from the master, you can't seem like you're on the side of, or in the camp of someone that has looked the master in the face and told him, fuck you, it's about me. I'm not going to let the NFL, with their power, influence, and money, silence me, shut me up, or treat me any kind of way. The NFL, they have to make an example of him, because the old power structure from the days of slavery, that's how they did it. They made an example of someone that bucked, because if they don't, everybody gonna buck. You see what I'm saying? So now you got guys like Jay-Z. Jay-Z wants into the NFL. Jay-Z wants in it so bad, he burned all his cultural currency to get there, just to get on, just to get beside the master. So I'm with you, Junior. That was a good point on how these guys are just basically, hey, Colin Kaepernick, we love you for what you did in private, but in public, we got to side with Big Daddy. That we got to side. We got to side with the master who gonna pay my bills. They won't end. So I agree with y'all on the takes of that Colin Kaepernick workout. Now, just to throw a little extra bone on the fire, what do you think the NFL teams are really trying to say when it comes to Kaepernick? Because Junior, top 20, I ain't mad at you. I think Kaepernick is in top form. Like you say, his body ain't been battered over the last 3 years. He's probably the healthiest he's been since he started in the National Football League. You know what I mean? So why is it these NFL teams, and to be specific, the ones that need a quarterback, the ones that their quarterback is a dumpster fire, they still won't objectively look into Colin Kaepernick and try to bring him on? Do you, just a quick question, do you think it's because of the political stuff about the kneeling and all that? Do you think they're trying to placate to their, let's just be honest, their Caucasian fans because they don't want an uproar by picking up Kaepernick? Do you think that's what it is still?
Yep.
Okay, Jay, what about you?
I agree totally. That's what it is. I mean, when you got cats out there like Blaine Gabbert and all these other sorry motherfuckers getting jobs, that's just ridiculous. Colt McCoy, I can name so many. I mean, Mark Sanchez had a job the other season. He the worst quarterback that ever played on the Eagles. So, yeah, they blackballed him.
James Winston got a job.
Exactly. You feel me?
Ryan Fitzpatrick
it has
got a
turned.
Job. Marcus Mariota got a job. You know what I'm saying? Mitchell Trubisky got a job. Chase Daniels got a job. This shit is ridiculous. And you know what? The only reason I'm going to touch back just a little bit, but you said something that people that made me wanted to say something else to that subject. It was just like, yes, they want to play favor to them and it's political, but they don't understand when we go away. Just like when we got upset at the Papa John shit, you lose half your revenue.
Yeah, there you go. Black dollars matter. And I don't think the reason why they're not afraid of the black dollar is we can't get unified, whether it's Jay-Z, whether it's Hugh Jackson, whether it is the players who I can't fault them because, hey, at the end of the day, people got kids to feed and mortgage payments and Ferrari payments and all that good stuff. I get that. But there has never been a rallying unification. Now, we tried to boycott, and the first year the boycott went down, I honored the boycott. I didn't watch NFL. The only time I watched NFL was when I would watch the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play. And that was because, obviously, Tampa was my team before all the hoopla started. So other than that, it was just never a push. Now, the boycott worked in a sense where the NFL was trying to do something to placate to the African-American base. But they're never going to do it enough like they do for the other side in trying to keep them codified. Because my final take on it is this. The NFL, Junior, you put it best. Jay, you also said it best. We know Colin Kaepernick is better than many of the guys that are in the NFL now. Hell, Junior, Robert Griffin has a job in the NFL. RG3 has a job in the NFL, and Colin Kaepernick doesn't. They are essentially telling us not to believe our lies. Don't believe that Colin Kaepernick is good enough to be in the NFL. Don't him and holding him back and blackballing him. But we have common sense. We see it. But they still won't acknowledge. They're still going to tell us, no, don't believe your lying eyes. So that to me is just the biggest slap in the face to the African American fan base of the NFL. This guy doesn't have a job.
They keep slapping.
Say it again.
On top of that, they keep slapping because then they had the audacity to make Shaq the fucking co-CEO of the NFL for Papa John's. That don't mean, one, we're supporting Papa John's, and two, we're coming back to watch football. God, man, these motherfuckers.
I think it's what you said. I mean, Mill, that you see, people have to pay bills because we wanted to shut the NFL down. We could because we're the product. They come to see us. We shut that down. They don't have nobody to play. I mean, the damn owners don't play. The fans don't play. The players that are black play. So the players should get the kind of respect if they want to do. If he want to do that, he can. You know what I'm saying? Just kneeling and sitting. You know, that's his belief, and he's kneeling for not the flag. Really, he's kneeling because of what goes on in America against black people. So all that bullshit where they throwing with the flag and disrespecting the flag, it was bullshit. They know that. If we take the product away from you and no black people play, then the NFL is dead. Billions of dollars are gone. So they better start learning to respect us more, and we better start learning to get together and shut their shit down when we have to.
Man, y'all heard that. Y'all bet.
Motherfuckers better understand it is more disrespectful to wear American flags or wear any kind of combination with the stars and stripes on it as a tablecloth, on your beer cans, as a hat, as a shirt. All of that is what the true disrespect of the flag. According to the United States government, the flag is supposed to be flown freely, not on a piece of.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Y'all better understand this is urban raw. You ain't gonna get it like this nowhere else. You gonna get it where the goats can get it around here. We ain't gonna hold back. There ain't gonna be no pussyfooting around. Urban raw gonna give it to you really real. You dig? So, fellas, we gonna move on from this topic because we can't spend all night on this one. But next up, here we go. Something that we all are still questioning why we haven't got a lot of details. We got some. Chris Carter fired from Fox Sports. That is, he blew up at the bosses per report, and we don't know who's leaking what. This could be spin coming from Fox Sports. We don't know. Really ain't heard much from Chris Carter. But from what we know right now through reporting is Chris Carter blew up at his bosses because of the not putting him on the Thursday night football. And first he was suspended unbeknownst to the public. I guess this was some type of internal deal with Fox Sports. He wasn't on air on his show, his usual show. And then next thing you know, we get the reporting that he was fired. Not only was he fired, here's where it gets a bit comical. Chris Carter, NFL commentator, ex-football player, Hall of Famer, just a professional athlete to broadcast career transition. And at the end of the day, he was escorted out of Fox Sports headquarters by security, like someone working at a call center and they get fired and they sit there and watch you clean out your desk and walk you to the door and say, your badge, please. You know, it's like I generally would have put just the echelon of working for a major network, being a major personality in football itself as well as broadcasting, to be escorted out. What kind of blow up was this? And this happened after the blow up because he was suspended first, then he was walked out. So, Junior, let me know, what do you really think? Maybe you've heard extra, I don't know, but how do you feel about this Chris Carter situation, and do you think it was fair based off of the limited information we got? Where do you stand on it?
This is the one time I'm gonna go with the rest of my black delegation and not jump off the cliff. I'm gonna sit back and watch how we did with the whole Jesse Smollett thing play out. I need to see this shit play out, because Chris Carter got a history of fucking us over, right? So I would rather see it play out, get all the facts together before I make a ruling on Chris Carter, because sometimes I just can't trust Chris to actually just. I don't know what side of the fence Chris Carter playing on, because every time these cats get in trouble, we be the ones that voice and be like, yeah, give them their job back. But then when they get their job back, they were like, they forgot who gave them their job. They be kissing up to the boss. Wait a minute. If it weren't for us sitting out there, you wouldn't have your job back. So first, I'm going to say, let me find out what Chris Carter did. I mean, unbeknownst to, if he did anything outside of slap somebody, then, of course, the man should have his job. But, I mean, if he just complaining about how he wasn't on Thursday night show, then he had every right. Bitch, I'm Chris Carter, Hall of Famer. Check my credentials. Without me, there's none of this show.
That's where I fall, Junior. I'm glad you said that, because that's where I was. First of all, Chris Carter, like you said, bitch, I'm Chris Carter. So he has a ego. But he has the cachet to have that ego, because the man is a major personality, and he has the cachet and the currency to get into it with the bosses. Now, the problem was it a, wait a minute, boy, who you think you is? Don't get ahead of your skis. Don't get too far ahead of your skis, son. We got you on our network because we want you here, but don't think that you can talk to us the way you probably have the right to talk to us, especially if we're not putting one of our biggest NFL personalities on Thursday Night Football. So, Junior, that was a good point. That was something I was thinking. So, Jay, let me ask you, where do you stand? Because like Junior said, we all know Chris Carter. Like Junior said, we don't want to follow him off a cliff because we really don't know what side. We don't know what side he's playing on, because he will get amnesia on the black community in a second. You know what I'm saying? So tell me, man, how you feel about the situation with Chris Carter, and do you think he had enough clout to at least, even though we don't know what to the detriment it was, what do you think the clout was? Do you think he had the clout to get into it with the bosses about something like this? And what do you feel about the situation with Chris Carter? Do you think that the firing, based off of limited information, was warranted based off the stature of Chris Carter? What you think, Jay?
Well, this is when Coonan goes wrong. Sometimes you deserve what you get. I mean, when he did that Me Too commercial, faking and crying, looking like a bitch, now they right back on your ass again, bro. He thought you can kiss up and kiss ass, and now they're on your ass. So,
boy, that might be the take of the day right there, boy. Go ahead, boy.
I mean, he do have the credentials for the show and all that, but sometimes Master has to put you back in your place, man. I mean, how you was crying on that commercial, you probably was crying when they put your ass out the door. But that's what happens when Coonan goes wrong. I'm sorry, like Junior said, on some subjects about the black people, you weren't protecting us, you weren't agreeing. So you got what your ass deserved to get. Go have some tears and rewind your commercial you did with the Me Too shit, because it's Me Too now. You look like one of them bitches now. So I ain't got no sympathy for him. You know, he played for my Eagles. Appreciated what you did back then, but you was on the pipe back then, so you didn't really do shit for us. So I'm sorry, Chris. I ain't got no sympathy for you, man. That's all I got to say, man. Good luck finding another damn job.
Y'all gonna learn y'all gonna.
Wait a minute, hold on. You're talking about my shit in God
damn. When cooning goes wrong.
Why would you tell us how you really feel, Jay?
Boy, you just coined the phrase I'm gonna use for the rest of the year, boy. When cooning goes wrong, up to you on the table and on your plate, fresh out the kitchen, you gonna get served up dealing with Irvin Raw.
Coming out, boy. Jay said he spit hot fire.
Hey, boy, y'all heard it here first. Y'all heard it. We gonna set up a segment, by golly, and I'm telling you, we gonna set up a segment, and it's gonna be called When Cooning Goes Wrong, because there's a lot of that shit going on out there right now. And Jay, you just coined a masterful phrase. When cooning goes wrong. Okay, all right, boys, here we go. We got another little topic here in this NFL spectrum. Marvin Lewis, I'm just going to throw the name out there right now, Marvin Lewis. I actually rooted for Marvin Lewis when he was with the Bengals because, quite frankly, I mean, for a while, he was one of a few black head coaches in the NFL. I mean, it was a point where I think it might have been two, and I don't even know if it was two. He might have been the last man standing at one point, but Marvin Lewis is said to be a top candidate in these coaching jobs that might be coming available. Now, just to throw some numbers out there to get everybody on the same page, I want to let y'all know Marvin Lewis spent 16 seasons with the Bengals in his head coaching debut, which lasted 16 seasons. So it went from a debut to solidified to a whole career, 16 seasons. Now, in these 16 seasons, the man was 131 and 122 with 3 ties, which is, for all intents and purposes, let's say the man was 50%. Now, the bad thing about, well, the 50% rating is, to me, not a very good thing, but we'll go ahead and theme that as, okay, if you toss the coin up, he gonna win one, he gonna lose one. But he was 0-7 in playoff berths. Playoff berths, he was 0-7. That means he never made it to the next round after either the wild card, the wild card race. He never made it past that league in the playoffs. He went from bad with the Cincinnati Bengals to decent, then to bad again. So in 16 seasons, he had a couple decent, not breakout, not, oh my, he had a couple decent seasons. What do you think? And we're going to put on the hat that we understand that this is a brother. We understand that in this league, we are a very small minority when it comes to leadership, coaching, if you will, executives. Do you think, Junior, I'm going to start with you on this round, do you think Marvin Lewis is a top candidate for head coaching vacancies to come?
No. I like Marvin Lewis. I really like Marvin Lewis. 16 years, up and down seasons. I don't think zero playoff wins, and I'm not including no freaking wild card because the wild card doesn't count for shit. That just means you got lucky. I can't see it. Even with I ain't saying that he had really, really talented players, but shit, you had some great players on those teams, and you went nowhere. So I would like to see Marvin Lewis get another job. But as a head coach, No, as an offensive coordinator, the dude's the shit. But him being a head coach, maybe you should go try that shit in the XFL. Win over there, and then we can talk about it.
Okay, I'm with you on that, man, because, again, you said it, up and down seasons. If you are a head coach for 16 years, I'm going to give you a couple years, but at some point, if you're somewhere for 16 years, you have to have a string of consistency, and we never saw that from Marvin Lewis. So, Jay, let me ask you the same question. Do you think Marvin Lewis is a top head coaching candidate in the NFL for vacancies yet to come?
Well, I would say give him a chance. You know, a couple of years, if he don't pan out, then it's time to retire for him because he's one of them old coaches. Most old coaches is, probably obsolete now because they're bringing in a lot of young coaches. There ain't too many, except for like Belichick and, probably a couple more old coaches, but I would give him one more chance. I mean, at least he made the playoffs as a head coach. There's a lot of head coaches that never made the playoffs. So I would give him one more chance, a shot at it, see if he can still coach, because he don't have this year, then, kind of chill out and get himself together. So give him one more shot. If it don't pan out after 2 years, then, give him the boot. But I think he deserves another chance.
Hey, let me ask you this question: how many coaches that you've been watching, as long as you've been watching NFL, how many coaches had 16 fucking seasons with one team?
Yeah, I mean that's hard to do.
And make the playoffs maybe twice. That's because the Cincinnati Bengals felt like they had no other choice and they were stuck in Marvin Lewis purgatory. So they finally broke away from it.
Look at them now. They're getting drugged.
This
is about to be the damn. This is about to be their versus record, though, man. They're finna go 0-16.
Well, Junior, let me pick up on something you said.
Go ahead.
Let me pick up on something you just said, Junior, a while back. You said with the level of talent that Marvin Lewis had, I'm just to interject, just to add to the conversation, let me list you off some players that Marvin Lewis have had while he was tenured at Cincinnati. Leon Hall, Rudy Johnson, the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, Carlos Dunlap. You got Carson Palmer, Willie Anderson. You got Andrew Whitworth, Geno Atkins, A.J. Green, one of the I felt if this guy had a quarterback and a team, he was a difference maker. A.J. Green. You had Chad Johnson. I mean, that's just to name a couple guys on teams Lewis had. And still, he really didn't do much with the talent he had. So just to throw that on the table with it, go ahead. Keep going, Junior.
I mean, yes, the Red Rocket came in, he's all right. I mean, because I used him on Fantasy League a couple times, and a couple times he helped me win some games, but he's not that guy. So they had quarterback issues, they had issues like every other team. But what was consistent was Marvin Lewis. And if it wasn't the system, it was something else. And people just wasn't, I guess, buying into it. But the man, 16 years, some NFL head coaches are lucky enough to even see 16 years, and that's skipping around through team to team. But 16 years, one team, and make the playoffs maybe twice? Come on, cuz. You ain't even make it past the fucking wild card. Come on, man.
Right.
So, go to the XFL, win a couple games over there, hopefully win whatever silly championship they have, try to be an offensive coordinator in NFL, because trust me, we will give you a shot before we'll give Hugh Jackson a shot.
Very true. Very true. But just to throw in a quick point, you know, one of the players on Marvin Lewis' team was Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect had a lot of problems. He got into a lot of mess up there in Cincinnati, but you had a defensive line, a defense that had Perfect, Dunlap, Pac-Man Jones, Kirkpatrick, and a few more. Marvin Lewis had talent. He had talent. Now, unfortunately, he was in a tough division, but still, you never made it past the wild card round. I mean, that to me was one of the issues that just kind of jumped out on the page. You were 0-7 as a playoff coach, as a coach in the NFL in the playoffs.
Going back to
teams wish they could make it to the playoffs at least 7 times, dog. Dude, my fucking Lions only made that bitch twice, nigga.
I mean, going back to Burfict did screw that man in that game. That game was over without that hit.
Yeah, he did.
Once they got that 15-yard penalty, he kept the shit going. He took AB out from the next game, but he damn sure fucked them in that game.
Yeah, you right about that, boy. That was a nice little parting gift from old Marvin Jones. Oh, yeah. Perfect messed him up. But okay, man. One thing I wanted to comment on, one of the segments that was close and dear to my heart, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I've been a Jameis supporter from the time he got to Tampa all the way up until the other day. I'm sorry, man. Jameis, it's time to move on. I am on the wagon of, and I just don't believe this is going to happen, but I am a Colin Kaepernick supporter to come to Tampa, and just to allow the Arians' offensive style to be modified with the advantage of being able to have the RPO and the veer game complement, because now that's just 2 more things Arian can add to a offense that isn't bad. The offense, now the line, yeah, they're going to have to do something with the line a little better. But I just feel that Jameis Winston, I don't know if he's just not seeing the field correctly, but when you start underthrowing fade routes in the end zone to receivers that are a foot taller than the DBs, I just can't really justify that anymore to say that, you know, maybe he need this, maybe he need that. 4 interceptions, 5 interceptions a few games ago. It's just time for the Buccaneers. It's just time for them to hopefully let the brother go somewhere else to get a fresh start, get fresh eyes, fresh coaching. But I think he's run his course here in Tampa Bay, seeing that it's the last year of his deal. I mean, it's just he's done nothing to make the Buccaneers feel like, yeah, this is the guy moving forward. So we know it's going to happen. But why not bring in a Colin Kaepernick and say, hey, we have a guy who we could add things to the system. We could finish off the year, go into the off season, come back next season, and then bring in a quarterback that can sit behind him for a couple years. So, again, this is personal to me. I'm a Bucs fan. No ifs, ands, buts about it. What do you guys feel about Jameis Winston and his time with the Bucs? Do you think his time is up? Do you think he deserves more time? Do you think it's not his fault? Jay, what do you think, brother?
Oh, this is one I enjoy. I have to get into this.
Enjoy this shit
at work. At work with my boys all the time. Man, if you up there with Blake Borders, I repeat, Blake Borders and interceptions in the last 5 years, then your ass need to be going to another team backing somebody up too. That's just, come on, man. This man has 18 interceptions, man. And it's week, what, 10? That's ridiculous, man. That is, I mean, goddamn, you're one of the reasons. I mean, there's other problems with the Bucs, but goddamn, every time you sneeze, he's throwing a damn interception. I'm looking up. I'm watching Red Zone, and I look at Red Zone, here goes Jameis again. I'm like, damn, brother. God damn. And officially, you've been throwing interceptions for 6 years. Because you came out of Florida State throwing interceptions, too. You had that in.
Indeed.
You probably got like 200, goddamn it. Yeah, that brother needs to go to Interception Anonymous or something like that, man. He got a real damn problem. I mean, goddamn, him and Blake are brothers. Because you don't have too many weapons in 5 years. They should have made the playoffs at least once. At least once. Y'all don't have this and that and been picked to win in division a couple times. But goddamn, the interception madman has to throw 4 this game. Then one game he looked good. Oh, he might be a top 10 like that idiot Mac said. Soon as Mac said that shit, next week he throw 5 fucking interceptions. So you don't know what the hell you talking about, Mac Kellerman. Somebody a top 10 quarterback in the league. And I want y'all brothers at work to hear this shit, because y'all thought it was cool and funny when he said that shit. And I'm like, Max is an idiot, man. Don't never listen to shit he say. Top 10, that make no damn sense. So I think Jameis is a backup. He's Reggie. I mean, what more can I say? I don't want to keep going in on him because he's a brother. But yeah, he sucks, man. He should be somebody's backup, man.
All right, well, I dig this. Boy. I know how you feel about them top 10 comparisons. I learned last time. Uh-oh. Hello?
Yeah, we good?
Hey, yeah, okay, man. I had some technical difficulties there. I lost y'all for a quick second. Hey, well, I tell you what, Jameis, you said it, Jay, just to pick up on what you said, 18 interceptions. And to be honest, just to be fair, when Jameis was drafted, when he came into the Bucs, I was never a Florida State fan, obviously. Y'all know Roll Tide for me, Bama, you know it, Gump City all day. But I said to several people, Jameis will throw the ball to the other team because he showed that at Florida State. Everybody wanted to chalk it up to, it was just his overconfidence and trying to fit the ball into tight windows and taking chances and yada, yada, yada. Okay, well, he's still doing it. You know what I'm saying? It didn't change. Jameis will throw the ball to the other team, and it just don't seem like they're on the page. So, Junior, this is your golden opportunity to lay into the hometown team. So, what you got to say about the Jameis situation?
Jameis Winston fucking is hot garbage. First of all, why the fuck y'all even waste the time drafting this? Y'all know goddamn well y'all supposed to draft Marcus Mariota. Y'all fucked that up. Even though Marcus probably would have done a way better job than Jameis damn Winston. First of all, Jameis Winston, when he came over to Tampa Bay, he was too busy thinking about crabbing legs and grabbing another chick's pussy. This dude is not focused on NFL. This dude is too busy trying to be a rock star quarterback and grab as much ass as possible. This dude is the equivalent of Jamarcus Russell times 10. With a sprinkle of the other quarterback that y'all got rid of that was a cokehead before Jameis got it. That came from K-State. Every year, you know what?
Josh Freeman.
I really hope. Josh Freeman. I really fucking hope the Bucs re-sign fucking Jameis Winston and his wife, because there are 2 teams I wish go 0-16 every fucking year. And guess what? The Buccaneers happen to be one of them motherfuckers. do us all a favor, Tampa Bay. We know how y'all really love shitty quarterbacks. Keep the shitty quarterback. He's not even worth the backup. This motherfucker should be on somebody's practice squad.
Damn.
Wow. Man. Practice squad. Now hold on, man. I can't let you smoke my homeboys like that, man. I'm gonna have to step in here.
18 interceptions. Look, Blake Bortles shouldn't even be in the NFL, but hell, he only there because I figure he ain't even gonna say it, but you know where I'm going. Either way,
yeah.
18 interceptions is a lot, boss. You should not be throwing 18 interceptions. Shit, the last person I've seen throw 18 interceptions like that, David Carr, Joey Harrington. Where are these cats at?
On the couch.
In the NFL.
Yeah, you're right, man. I mean, I can't hold back the heat for Jameis anymore. I tried to work with the guy. I tried to defend him. I hoped and believed in him. It has just gotten to the point where it's no longer justifiable. I mean, watching this last game, I didn't even watch the game, all right? I was working, listening to the game on my earpiece via phone, and it's just amazing. The commentators were the Buccaneer commentators, and the exhaustion, the disgust, and the total fuck this shit attitude they had commentating the game. It was ridiculous. The interceptions, it was like, this is just, hey, this is what he does. Exactly. And you're mounting a comeback at home. You're trying to get into at least a one possession game, and you throw a fucking pick six, which was a ill-advised throw because you were throwing a timing route and the receiver wasn't even running the route you thought he was running. So who was wrong, Jameis or the wide receiver? Well,
Jameis.
based on the sideline interaction with the coach, Jameis was wrong. Who was wrong when Jameis underthrew a fade route in the end zone? Quarterback 101 says, if you're throwing a fade route into the end zone, you throw it to where either your man is the only one who can get it or it sails out of bounds. How are you underthrowing it? How do you underthrow a fade route?
I think Jameis be high half of the time. Because last time we seen Jameis play, he was telling us, this is a W. This is what it tastes like.
But he said he colorblind.
They did have him on that red. So that's probably how he missed that receiver.
Yeah, it was whatever it was.
Foolish for him.
I tell you what, man, when your mom watching the game and she makes a comment, just make it stop. It's time to make it stop. You know what I'm saying?
The channel.
It's time to make it stop. Let's move on. And no, you can't salvage the season, but one thing you can do is make a move and try to get some momentum going into the off season to get ready for next season and possibly set up a quarterback for the future. You're not going to go get a quarterback for the future unless you make some kind of serious trade. But come on, let's be honest. The guys out there that are on the trading block, I mean, are they the next 5-6 year guy? I don't think so. So with that being said, good take, man. I liked all the issues we were able to unravel, peel back, discuss. Do you guys have any other comments about any of the subjects that you feel need to make it to the limelight? Speak now or forever hold your peace. What you got, Jay?
I'm good, man. It was a great show. I had fun, man. I want to continue having more fun. Can't wait to the next show. Good show, fellas.
Yes, sir. All right, Junior, what you say, my man?
Man, it was a good show. Can't wait to see y'all brothers in a couple of days for the next show. And I can't wait to get on that basketball topic because I got one to serve up for you since Luka putting up LeBron James numbers.
Oh, you heard that, didn't you, Jay? Didn't I try to tell you?
I hear him. We gonna get into that. That's for sure.
I told you, boy.
Okay, we gonna get into that.
Well, I tell you what, man. Just to end it on, yeah, no doubt, we gonna be back a few days. Y'all know Urban Raw. You know how it goes down, sports and news, and you get it here. You get it raw, like you gonna get it nowhere else. Like my dog Jay say, boy, when the cooning goes wrong, Urban Raw gonna put your ass on Front Street. You dig? Hey, this Millwalk. I'm out this thing. My boy Jay, my boy Junior. I'll see y'all boys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.